What's up, YouTubers? It's me, Johnny. Um, a lot of times people ask me for recommended websites or not websites, YouTube channels. This is one of them. It's called Mr. Second Passport. This guy's a young guy. I'm pretty sure this is Dominic. A lot of the comments in his videos are calling him Dom. I'm pretty sure this is Dominic. I watched quite a few of his videos tonight, and I'm pretty sure it's him. He mentioned in one of his videos he lives mostly, I think, in Ecuador, but he travels all over the world. He lives kind of a perpetual tourist lifestyle, kind of like what I like. He's not in one area, but he's back in the day when I used to know him. He used to have another website, not this channel. I wasn't even aware he had a YouTube channel. Anyways, back then he was doing a lot of business in Ecuador, and made a lot of money as a young guy. I think he's still under 30 too. But this is a really excellent website for people who look at the world a little differently, kind of like me, and people who are entrepreneurs who want to make money, people who don't really want to retire, things like that. That's the reason I mention his videos. And he talks about some weird stuff like, I don't see one of the videos coming up right now, but quite a few of his videos, the older ones, talk about how you can fly almost anywhere in South America for under $100 or slightly over $100 instead of doing, like, say you're in Lima and going from Lima to like Paraguay, like I've been talking about. There's actually cheaper ways to fly if you fly to the nearby cities, and you can get it much cheaper. He's also, when I remember him last, he used to show you how to fly from Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is one of the airports. It's the cheapest to fly into anywhere in Central or South America, but especially South America. Normally, you can do it for under a couple $100, sometimes for 100 and change. He used to do that, and then he used to fly into Colombia. I forget the town, but it's a town, and then you just take a little bus across the border, and you can take another airplane. He does that a lot, or you can take another bus and get into Ecuador really cheap. But that's one thing you might like about his videos. He shows you how to fly around in Central, well, mostly South America, really cheap. He also has some videos on Spain, but I want to go here and show you some videos. He buys, oh yeah, one thing, I can't find it. Like he covers some, still there's still cheap places to live in South America, believe it or not. There's a furnished studio. I watched that one. But he built, for the viewers who don't know, there's a man called Gary Scott and his wife. I don't know if they still live in Ecuador, but they used to. But they used to build on a lot like a cabana, or I think that's how you pronounce cabanas, for like 3,000 US dollars. He's buying lots on the beaches for like 3 grand, and then putting three and a half grand in them, like 6.5, 7,000. Yes, under 10 grand, I'll say. There it is, right there. That's a good one to watch if you want to know how to. Well, not that one specifically, but he's building these like cabana homes on the beach, and he shows you the pros and the cons and how you can do it, like for basically 3 grand, like Gary Scott used to talk about. Now, Gary Scott, probably most of my viewers don't know him, but he used to be popular back in the day. Anyways, he shows kind of stuff like that if you don't really have a lot of money, how you can buy a lot for 2 or 3 or 4 grand, build a little like a little house on it, and to do it for like 3, 4, or 5 grand. In fact, I know quite a few people building homes in South America for under 20 grand, and more than one person. So that's one thing. If you can find a cheap place like Lanny, and you want to build on it, like, and you want to build like the locals build, that's what I mean. I just, not a really big house, and you're using local materials and things like that. Also, too, you can source marble from Brazil pretty cheap. So if you want to put in marble on the floors, you can do that too. But the homes are going to cost more, obviously. Anyways, he has a video on mining gold. It's pretty cool. Like, most of the time, stuff like that is illegal. Not always. It depends on the country. Here's how locals make money in the river gold mining. Now, most countries for foreigners, that's illegal, but I'm aware of foreigners doing that. Like in Honduras, you got to hire like bodyguards and stuff like that, obviously, and you got to buy permits and all that. And when you do all that, you're advertising to everyone in the community what you're doing. So if you actually make money, which you probably will if you do it right, you got to hire bodyguards. It's something you can do, but it's a lot of work. Other people just do it more on the low profile. He also had another video where you can buy gold from the miners, which some of the viewers drop comments on how that's technically illegal. So, like, if you like stuff like that, that's pretty cool. He has videos on getting 8, 9, 10% because Ecuador is US dollars, and the pros and cons of the big banks and the small banks, like credit unions, not credit, the cooperativas. I forget, we have them here in Guatemala, but you can get US dollar deposits for like, what did he say, like 5, 6, 7% for like 90 days to 6 months, to like 9% if you want to deposit for a year, 10% if you want to deposit up to, I want to say, yeah, 450 days, because that's how they do it in Latin America. They do it by days, not necessarily months. Anyways, it's kind of cool if you like to do stuff like that. Anyways, one of the banks he's talking about, you can actually open from another country, but you have to use a power of attorney, which is kind of interesting. I was not aware you could do that. And for the viewers, I like POAs or powers of attorney because I, in the past, I had banks in the U.S. where I do that with one of my relatives. If you have someone in the States that you trust and you put them on as a POA, they can do lots of stuff so you don't have to fly back to the States. I was not aware that you could use a POA to open a bank account there, so I don't really want to bank in Ecuador, even if it's in dollars. But if I did, I would talk to my lawyer and get a POA and, you know, do something like that if I didn't really want to go down there. But like I said, I don't really want to bank there. If you did bank there in dollars, it'd be better, in my opinion, to bank in Peru. But when you can just bank in USD in Paraguay, I'd rather do that. That's just my opinion. He's got a video on the most European city in Ecuador. Anyways, this is a cool video for like younger people. I think all age, but younger people might appeal because he actually does boot on the ground stuff, starting brick and mortar business, lots of real estate stuff. He's doing Airbnb, which people are doing here in Guatemala. I know foreigners doing that here in Guatemala. It's not my cup of tea. I don't really want to. I'm not interested in real estate. If you watch a lot of my videos, you realize I'm not interested in real estate that much. But it shows you some. You still can get a lot of place for $400 or $500, even with all the gringos flooding in into places like Ecuador. And the other thing is, Ecuador has cool beaches. At least that's some people's opinions. I don't like beaches like anywhere, even in the Philippines. I did live on the beach, but I didn't like it, so I didn't. But if you're a beach person, you might like parts of Ecuador as compared to Colombia, but that's kind of a personal thing. I just don't care to live on the beaches, but I like living more up in the mountains in the Altiplano, whether I'm in Guatemala or if I'm in South America. When I was in Peru, I lived right on the coast. It was hot, man, it was hot. But in the wintertime, it kind of cools down a little bit. Anyways, he spent so much time there. He has such a wealth of knowledge. So if any of you viewers are like interested in Ecuador, I would suggest you check out his channel, especially if you like living on a budget and especially if you like speculating in lots. Like, I never shared this on my channel, but my grandfather used to buy lots in the United States for like in the hundreds of dollars. Nowadays it'd be like probably, well, nowadays you probably couldn't get them for 5 or 10. But even when I was a kid, he bought these places for a couple $1,000s. Both my grandfathers did, and speculated in land in Minnesota and Arkansas, and made quite a amount of money. It's just not my thing. I like to trade more and speculate more. Again, everyone's different in how they like to approach markets. But if you like actually getting cheap lots and developing them, and he has reasons why you shouldn't put too much money in, which I actually agree with. He got some pushback on that, but I think having a really overpriced house anywhere in Latin America is really difficult to get your money out. It's difficult to protect it. He even points out how in these gated communities you can get robbed kind of easy, which I already knew. And anyways, if you want to kind of know how it really is living in Latin America, stuff like that, this is kind of a cool channel, and everything here translates to the Philippines. That's why I like it, because he even has a video comparing the Philippines to Ecuador, which is kind of interesting. Anyhow, he even points out, like, if you're willing to spend $1,000 a month on an apartment, you can get really nice cribs down there. And here's a video on why Mexico beats Guatemala, or pardon me, why Mexico beats Ecuador for beach living. Anyhow, that'd be interesting. But if you like that kind of thing, you might want to check this out. If it's not your cup of tea, I understand, but there's just so many channels that I think are misleading, and especially for people who want to live on a budget, and especially if people want to do business. They don't really want to retire, they want to just do stuff. This is a really fascinating channel, and a lot of what he talks about you can translate into other countries in Latin America. So if you can do it there, you can actually do it And other places. Oh, here's one for 80 bucks, or yeah, 80 USD rents. I think my last place in the Philippines was 80 bucks. I don't like talking about it because people get really uptight if you talk about you can rent these places. It seems to trigger people. But that's one cool thing about Philippines or Mexico or South America or even here in Guatemala. You can just, there's like something for everyone depending on what your budget is and things like that. Anyways, that's it for now. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you. What is going on? This thing is not clicking off.